Welcome to the deep dive. If you want to cut through all the noise, skip the hype and just get the essential insights on something, well, you're definitely in the right place. Today, we're plunging into all that buzz around the XP Deus II metal detector. And look, this isn't about the ads or the marketing stuff. We're talking actual dirt time here, thanks to Paul Egerton's really thorough field test and review. So our mission basically is to pull out the most important bits from what Paul found, help you figure out if this detectorists lives up to the hype and, what it really offers detectorists like you.
Yeah, and Paul's review is great because it's just refreshingly honest. He's not just echoing the marketing points. It's a real boots-on-the-ground take, which honestly is crucial for understanding a machine like this.
Okay, so let's dive right in. The big one, right? The elephant in the room for any new detector. Depth. There were some pretty big claims floating around for the Deus II. So what did Paul actually find out there? Did it deliver those revolutionary gains people hoped for?
Well, his take was pretty direct, actually. Quite eye-opening. He basically said, if you're expecting miracles, you're going to be disappointed.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
Straight shooter.
Yeah. He even made a crack that Equinox owners can sleep well. And that tells you a lot, right? It suggests that for many people already using good machines, the depth increase alone probably isn't this massive leap forward that justifies maybe dropping, what, $2,000?
So no magic depth button then? Not across the board?
Not universally, no. The nuance Paul found was key. It did get deeper, but specifically on small targets.
Oh.
But it wasn't like a revolutionary jump overall. He did point to the Goldfield program as a real depth winner. That's designed for tiny gold and tough ground.
Right.
But, and this is the important caveat from Paul, he immediately said it's specific. It's not suitable for all places. So that extra depth isn't something you'll get everywhere, every time. It's more of a specialized tool. And that really changes how you think about its overall value depending on what you hunt for.
That does make a difference.
Yeah.
Okay. So depth maybe wasn't the showstopper, but Paul found something else, right? Something unexpected that really impressed him. Stability.
Yeah, that was a big one for him. He was genuinely surprised. He said, and this is pretty striking, that it was so quiet he sometimes thought it was turned off.
Oh.
Seriously. Yeah. And anyone who swung a detector that shatters constantly, false signals, noise, especially in mineralized soil, that dead silent operation is huge.
A really big deal. It lets you actually hear the faint signals. Less tiring too, I bet.
Exactly. It improves concentration, reduces fatigue. It's a major practical benefit.
So how does it achieve that? What's the tech behind it?
It really comes down to the multi-frequency technology, FMF they call it. It processes multiple frequencies at once, which lets it filter out a lot more ground noise. So even when you push the settings, like sensitivity way up, it stays remarkably quiet.
Interference.
Right.
From phones or power lines?
He said a quick frequency scan, a quick tune, usually sorts that right out. It's that kind of field reliability that it makes the experience so much better. It lets you focus.
Okay, makes sense. Now, let's switch gears a bit. It wasn't all smooth sailing. Paul did hit a snag, didn't he? With the audio.
Yeah, that seemed to be his main challenge, especially coming from the original Deus, which he apparently really liked the audio on, the polyphony.
Right, he loved that nuanced sound on the first one. Said it gave tons of information.
Exactly. And with the Deus II, he felt like he was, and I quote, learning a whole new language.
So what was the issue specifically?
Well, he described this kind of low-frequency noise or hum with the new polyphony setup. And that could be a problem, especially for hunters looking for those really deep, faint signals.
How so?
Well, think about it. He also noted something interesting about discrimination. You know how on the old Deus, running disk at 0 or even negative could help you hear those deep whispers?
Yeah, letting all signals through, even iron.
Right. Well, Paul found that trick doesn't seem to help on the Deus II. Might even hurt performance. And he connects it back to that low hum he mentioned. He felt it was sort of clogging the audio on deep targets.
So the faint signal from a deep coin might get lost in that hum. Or sound like it.
Precisely. It could mask those valuable finds, making them really easy to just walk right over. That's a critical observation.
Definitely something potential buyers need to be aware of.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk practical stuff. Ground balance.
Yep, he had some notes there too. Said it takes longer to pump than the original Deus.
Longer. Okay.
And the numbers were different, too. His ground balance values were running consistently, like about 3 units higher.
Interesting. Any difference in how it actually balances?
He described the process as jumping around in increments rather than smoothly adjusting.
Right.
Which is useful to know if you're upgrading so you don't fiddle with it thinking it's not working right. It's just different.
Gotcha. So patience needed there. But There was good news too, right? Target ID.
Yeah, definitely positive news on that front. Paul said you can safely trust the Deus Ex's ID in situations where the original Deus might have, been a bit iffy or misleading.
That's huge. Saves a lot of digging trash based on jumpy numbers. More confidence.
Absolutely. Big confidence booster.
There's always a button detectives
Yeah,
there.
pretty much. Even with that better ID, Paul still strongly advises dig suspicious signals.
The golden rule.
Yep. His point is it's always better to dig a few pieces of junk than miss something good. That hasn't changed.
Timeless advice. Okay, so despite the learning curve with the audio and the ground balance tweaks, Paul did seem to find a sweet spot later on. Something about a second program update.
He did, yeah. And you could tell he was genuinely excited about this. He described finding a heap of targets, really good separation, even at depth.
Right.
Catching small stuff down at like 20, 25 centimeters, which is pretty good.
Very good.
And importantly, no iron falsing with that program setup.
Okay, so what does that tell us? That breakthrough with a specific program.
It really suggests that the Deus II might be one of those machines. It takes effort, but it really shines once you dial it in properly. It implies there's definitely a significant learning curve, but there's also real potential there if you put the time in.
Right, which leads nicely to his overall verdict, which sounded very measured.
Very measured. His bottom line was essentially, don't rush to buy it unless you need the water capability.
Okay.
Or you're okay being a beta tester.
Wow, beta tester.
Yeah.
That's pretty blunt for a review of a major detector. What's the thinking there?
Well, it ties into XP's track record. They often release a strong platform, and then they refine it significantly over time with firmware updates.
Oh, yeah.
So when he says beta tester, he's likely implying that give it a year or two, and it'll be much better. They'll iron out the kinks, maybe improve that audio response based on feedback.
Makes sense. And his comparison to other detectors, particularly the Equinox.
Yeah, that was telling. He specifically said Equinox owners don't really need to switch unless they just want to test the new machine. It highlights that the Equinox series is still very solid, very capable, and for current users, the improvements the Deus II offers might be marginal, maybe not worth that big price jump. Not yet, anyway.
So not necessarily a game changer for everyone currently happy with their high-end machine?
Seems to be Paul's takeaway, yeah.
Okay, so wrapping this up, Paul's final thought was interesting. He called the Deus II multifaceted. So the more you learn it, the more questions you have. Sounds a bit like falling down a rabbit hole.
It does, doesn't it? And what that suggests, I think, is that there's a real depth of capability. There are lots to explore. But it also signals complexity. This isn't a simple turn-on-and-go machine if you want maximum performance. It demands a significant time investment to really understand it, to truly master it.
Right. So for you listening, let's boil this down. Key takeaways from Paul Edgerton's time with the XP Deus II. It's definitely a solid detector. Real, noticeable improvement in stability. The quietness is a big plus, and the target ID is more reliable.
Yeah.
That's good news.
But don't go in expecting some kind of revolutionary depth increase across all targets and conditions. And be prepared, really prepared, to put in the hours learning its unique audio language. It's different.
So, the recommendation.
I'd say, look, if you primarily detect on beaches, or you really need that fully wireless setup, or maybe you just love the challenge of learning a complex, potentially very rewarding machine, then yeah, it could be worth considering. But if you're happy with your current detector, say an Equinox or something similar, and it's doing the job for you, there's really no compelling reason, based on this review, to rush out and upgrade right now.
Fair enough. And maybe a final thought for you to chew on as we wrap up. It builds on this idea of mastering your gear. The best detector, or really any tool, isn't always the newest or the most expensive one.
True.
Ultimately, it's the one you actually use, the one you learn inside and out, the one that helps you enjoy that journey of unlocking its potential, whatever that tool might be.
Well said. It's about the connection between the user and the tool.
Exactly. So keep digging, keep learning, and think about what mastering your own tools truly means for you.